guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to do an update to a popular video I did about 2 weeks ago titled, Stay-at-home dad unleashes Armageddon and gets everything after catching wife cheating and mocking him. And guys, that video definitely was popular and was quite a good one. You felt bad for the guy, but the guy handled his situation like a boss. Now, as a quick recap, because it's been a couple weeks since I did the story, that's all about the guy. I believe he was in his late 30s, married to his wife a while, 2 kids, I think both daughters. I think the one girl's 10, the other one's a few years younger. And long story short, he, as a favor to his wife, became a stay-at-home dad, a Mr. Mom, if you will, because in the beginning, he and his wife had good careers. He had an extremely good career, I think, in the tech sector, making damn good money. Out of nowhere, his wife's dad died, and she took over the family business. And having to run it took a lot more time, and she was being paid more than what he was making, so they came to the agreement. And that's a lot for a guy to do, but he did it for her and the kids. And so he became Mr. Mom, took care of all the cooking, cleaning, everything associated with raising the kids, all that. And guess what? Over time, her attraction and treatment of him got worse and worse. She started treating him like crap, outright making fun of him for being a stay-at-home dad, even though that was her idea. And I hit home how a guy is far better for him to be the one working and bringing home the money than being the stay-at-home Mr. Mom dad, because he embraces the feminine energy, she embraces the masculine energy if she's bringing home the bacon. It's the ugly truth. It is what it is. And it happens all the time. And sure enough, she has a lover. A lover much younger than her to obviously give her the attention and validation. And he catches her. He finds out about this one day. He gets proof of it and goes to an attorney. And that attorney pretty much says, look, you're going to make out like a bandit. You gave up your career for her. And she's cheating and also cheating in your house. And that's what happened. He made out like a bandit. He got the house, full custody of the kids. She has to pay him alimony, child support. And even his lawyer, being a lawyer, said, hey, I could probably get you something else. So you have to get education to get back in the workforce. Really rubbed it in. And after that, guess what? The wife is now living with her mother and trying everything she can to get the guy back. You all recall that because she's screwed. She's toast. But the mother-in-law is on his side. And it ended with that, guys, in terms of with the mother-in-law on his side, his ex-wife trying to get him back, all that, and he wasn't having it. Now, we're picking up where things left off with regards to where things are going with his daughters, because his daughters, poor kids, are really messed up by this whole thing. And what's going on with them, therapy and all that. And also, to end this on a real high note, he hasn't forgotten about the wife's lover, the a-hole that was banging his wife, who knew darn well he was married, had kids. Watch how things are handled with the lover and how this guy handles it. Definitely you'll enjoy it. I know it was a long intro, but I had to cover a lot. It's been a few weeks. So he continues with an update saying, this will not be long, but things have gotten very bad for my girls. Basically, my girls had 2 sessions this week with their therapist. The first one was good. My girls came out what seemed like to be more peaceful and calm than usual. I talked to the therapist afterwards, and she seemed to be very good in understanding my girls very well. So I took them to their second, and the shit is completely fucked. Basically, the therapist explained in age-appropriate terms that the reason me and their mom are separating is that their mother cheated, had an affair, and betrayed me. I knew eventually she would, but I didn't think it would happen so soon. Well, I think it's important that the kids know the truth, because otherwise they go through life thinking their mom and dad, their mom's so great, or maybe even thinking that their dad had something to do with them breaking up or something. Now they know. But remember, they're also little kids, so that could, as you see, can cause really backfire. It's a gamble. I went to the girls, and basically I went to get my girls, and basically it was a burst of tears and them climbing all over me, giving me hugs, crying, saying they love me. They want to take care of their papa. I'm happy they love me, but this is not what I wanted to happen with my girls. I asked the therapist, why did she tell them? She said the girls know that you two are separating, and the girls noticed you seem to be really mean and unloving to their mother. Your girls aren't stupid, she told me, and they know who you are and how you are, and they know how you treat their mom. They wanted to know why you were separating. I tried to walk around as best I could, she said, but the girls are not going to progress in therapy if we don't tell them. And it's a gamble, but she made that good point. They need to know. The girls aren't dumb. Kids aren't stupid, guys. For those of you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. They observe a lot of things. They may not talk about it, but kids observe. I observed a lot of shit with my parents growing up. I came from a healthy family, but still, I knew things that were going on. They were fighting. I knew a fight was going on. I didn't even have to hear them fighting. Goes on, he says here, I'm not going to go into detail what exactly she said to them, but it was age appropriate. But they know the age appropriate version of the mother being unfaithful. I think my oldest can maybe handle this and be okay, but not my youngest. So we get home and my girls won't let me go. They're literally crying the whole night. So I order in food, I put in their favorite movies in my bedroom, and we laid there all night. They fell asleep and I went to the bathroom and just cried. My soon-to-be ex doesn't even realize the pain she's causing our girls. She doesn't know and she doesn't care. And even if she did know, she probably wouldn't care. And that's the point I make all the time with these cheaters. They're not just hurting the guy. Or in the case, if the guy's cheating, he's not just hurting the wife. You're hurting the kids too. Okay, because this is going to come back and be a problem. You know, these poor little things. The last thing they should be worrying about is this shit. You know, they should be worrying about their freaking Barbies or whatever the hell kids play with nowadays. But you get my point. But they're having to deal with this. And he has to stay strong for them. I'm glad he waited till they went to sleep to let out the emotions. He's got to be Papa Bear, the strong mountain in a rock. That's what the fathers have to be for their girls. Notice, men got to be strong in the way for their daughters, the same way they got to be strong for their women. Because the second they show them cracking, the rock is cracking, that's when they get worse. It's like, you're calm, they're calm, at least the best be possible. And you know what? I guarantee you that if the situation was reversed, the ex-wife would be using this for everything for her worth. Everything to get an advantage. It says, I don't know how I'm going to deal with all this. The therapist told me we could try medication for a bit until they get used to the new normal. Hell no, you're going to medicate my kids. Of course the therapist jumps on the medication route. These fucking doctors and therapists, the doctors, whatever you want to call them, the go-to thing is always medicate. Medicate, medicate, medicate. And then the kids develop addictions and problems and side effects because of that, and off we go. How about dealing with things like people used to deal with? Are there cases when this medication is absolutely necessary? Yeah, but not like this. I refused to do so. Good. Which she supported and said it was just an option. And as I'm not drugging them. Disclaimer, she cannot give the drugs. She said she would need their primary, and they would probably diagnose my girls with something that would allow them to medicate them. I'd rather deal with my daughter's emotions the healthy way. Freaking men. I won't have to worry about Christmas as my daughters hate their mother now. How do I know? My oldest says she never wants to see her mom again. My youngest follows what her older sister says, even though she may actually agree. I was shocked. I said, you don't hate her. You may be mad at her, but you don't hate her. She loves and cares about you. I wouldn't go that far. My oldest just said, no, she doesn't, and just cried in my arms until she fell asleep, and so did my youngest. This is my life right now. That sucks. You know what? But I think it's good to let the kids get the emotions out. And again, I want to point out, if the situation was reversed, you could bet your ass his ex would be using that anger from the kids against him. But notice he's defending. He's saying you don't hate her because he looks at the big picture. He knows they know that she's their mother, and even though she's a piece of garbage on so many fronts, she's still their mother. I don't know how she was with them one-on-one, but I don't recall at least. But we all know she's a piece of garbage, what she did to him and the family, but still, at this juncture, he's still saying she's your mom. He could have handled that completely different. Now, a few comments here before I get on to the really good stuff. One guy says, no, therapist did right. Your girls need to know the truth about their mom. Who she is, they deserve it. My sister refused to talk about the abusive F word her ex-husband is in front of his daughter, or her daughter, wanting to paint a neutral, beautiful picture, and it eats me alive inside that this beautiful kid will never know the vile person her father is. I'm glad your daughters at least know the truth, so they will not be deceived in the future, growing up and can paint a real and accurate picture of who their mother is, not on some lies. Yeah, and it's also important that they know fully that it is not Dad's fault that this thing ended. Another guy says here, yeah, the consensus seems to be there was never going to be a good time to tell them, and I have to agree. They know, and now they can start to heal. You might want to give your mother-in-law a heads up because your soon-to-be ex finds out, who knows how she'll react. Yeah, I would tip off the mother-in-law. The mother-in-law, the grandma of these girls, if you'll recall, she's been very supportive of the guy. And that's good. It's good he has an ally. And it doesn't seem like bullshit either. Another guy says here, drugs to relieve and justify pain your kids is not the way to go. They need to be able to grieve properly and not patch it. Learning to grieve is part of life. And teaching them to process emotions without relying on a drug is going to be far better than them in the long run. Abso-freaking-lutely. Now, the next part, where you're going to see how things go with the affair partner and him getting a little payback. It says here, hey everyone, I'm sorry for the name. I'm sure it sounds like a really bad sequel, but I wanted to be clear about what this update is about. Just to clear things up real fast, the girls are doing better. They're still going to the same therapist, but they are doing much better. Awesome. Kind of coming to the realization, my daughters say they don't hate their mother anymore. However, they made it very clear to me that they don't want to see her for a very long time. Their words, not mine. We will see how that goes. My wife has made aware of them knowing. She tried calling my girls. They answered, but my wife has since been a bit more respectful of mine and my girls' boundaries. I think the realization is starting to hit her. I had a feeling that the girls would calm down. They had to get it out of their system. I hate her. I hate mommy. Get out of your system. But still, it's going to take time. This is what she deserves. He says, anyway, to the affair partner. Already, I know that he is a piece of crap. But fuck, this man is awful. So someone asked if there was an OBS. And by the way, I don't know what OBS is. I was Googling it and get all these different terms for OBS. So any of you guys know what the fuck OBS is, tell me in the comment section. He says, so someone asked if there was an OBS. I didn't know. I started looking through some stuff for my wife's work. I was able to find a piece of paper with all employees' numbers and emergency contacts. I called his. It was his wife's. Turns out he is married. I didn't think he was. Also, he has a toddler. Well, I told his wife and she didn't believe me and hung up. One of those, huh? I'm loving this. Find out who this guy is and report back to his wife. I mean, this guy knowingly was hooking up with this guy's wife who had kids and had an active part in screwing up this guy's family and life. If this guy has someone in his life, particularly a wife, she deserves to know. A little later, she calls me back and asks to meet. I meet her. I show her everything. She asks if we can go to my car. We do. Within a second of closing the door, she burst into tears, crying, saying, how could he do this to me? What did I do wrong? Well, I said you did nothing wrong and gave her my lawyer's phone number. Notice how at first she didn't want to hear it and hung up on him. Natural reaction. Nobody wants to hear the ugly truth. And then boom, she calls him up. Now they're meeting. And if you guys can, if the dirty wheels in your minds are starting to turn, that's what I was thinking too. And well, bear with me here. After that, she asked how long. I said, I think a year, maybe a tad longer. She then goes from upset to effing pissed. I asked her why. She proceeded to rip her hair off. It was a wig. Tell me she just beat cancer. I guess after their child was born, they found some odd stuff while she was in the hospital. They found a tumor. So over the last year and a half, she had 2 surgeries, had gone through chemo, and was on medication. She looked very good, so I was surprised. She said she beat cancer and she is better. Holy crap. She had the kid and then she was had cancer and had surgeries and chemo, going through physical hell, and this piece of shit was hooking up with another woman. I get, obviously, he wasn't sleeping with her at the time because of how sick she was, and I get, obviously, she wasn't very physically attractive, but there's a time to turn that off for a while for a loyal husband. That's it, you know. Good Lord. And by the way, I guarantee this dude's wife, who's effing this guy, knew darn well what was going on behind the scenes with his wife. Guaranteed, which shows even more how big of a piece of shit his soon-to-be ex-wife is. It says here, but they haven't had SEX in like 2 years. She said, between my pregnancy and cancer, I couldn't. She got really sick while pregnant. Then her cancer just killed her almost. Once she started feeling a little bit better, she felt horrible in herself. She started gaining weight from the medication, lost her hair, and wasn't as pretty as she used to be. She said, I was now at the point where she could have SEX and was going to surprise him soon for being a caring, loving husband. So after all that, she's now gotten herself back on track and then looking a hell of a lot better. You know, if your wife is your wife or your girl happens to be one of the small percentage that actually is really good to you, loyal, supportive, minimal drama. There's always going to be a little drama, but minimal drama, takes care of herself, all that, and then something like this happens, of course you're going to be supportive and loyal, not fucking cheat on her and all that. But don't worry, we're not done yet. She said I was now at the point that we can have sex and was going to surprise him, blah, blah, blah. That is off the table. She started crying about her child growing up in a broken home, and I consoled her. She then tried to have you-know-what with me. I said, no, you're not in the right state of mind, and this is not healthy. She thanked me for my honesty, then proceeded to ask for the evidence. I gave it to her, and she went home. We've texted a couple of times since we are both BS, whatever the hell that means. So we will keep in contact. So thank you for the few people who mentioned looking for the OBS. I didn't even think about that. So, contacted the ex, let her know everything. And now she's obviously going to be checking out an attorney. And also, no surprise there, she tried to put a move on him. And I'm sure some of you were thinking the same thing I was. Hey, nail her. The ex, the guy who's cheating with his wife, certainly has that coming, but not the time and place. However, I'm going to go through some comments here. One of the comments is going to deal with something about that. So bear with me. One guy says here, oh shit, what a piece of shit. Not only that, but your ex-wife knew this too. Holy no, no, no. I would just get that parent app and tell her no contact. What a heartless piece of waste of a human being to do that to someone fighting cancer. The guy says, I just can't process how much an affair partner and your wife are such terrible people. Your wife is destroying the marriage, the family, your children's lives, and your life. The affair partner doing all the above while his wife is fighting for her actual life. They did this together. There is no way your wife didn't know about it, and this just shows how cruel words about you weren't just the affair fog. To me, it shows they're both sadistic in their treatment of you and the OBS, and that her recent tears and words of remorse are out of fear of the cold hard truth of being known and seen being who she really is. I'm happy to hear that you and your girls are doing better. Yeah, his wife's a piece of garbage. Another one says here, first off, hats off to you the way you handled the whole OBS issue, from breaking the news to helping and supporting her without taking advantage. Secondly, destroy your wayward wife and affair partner for their horrible actions. They made shitty, selfish decisions and should face maximum consequences. Tell her mother about the OBS and how she deliberately hurt a cancer-surging mother of an infant. And lastly, more power to you. You've shown strength and honor and resolve that most BS can't. And last one. Says here, thank you for the update, OP. I'm so sorry for the OBS and what she has been through. Her husband is true scum. I hope she divorces him and has a wonderful life with her child. I hope the same for you as well. Cheaters always think about themselves, selfish and shallow. They cause unbelievable hurt and pain for everyone. You and OBS will thrive. It will take some time, but it will happen. Have a Merry Christmas with your girls. And to finish this off, the guy that wrote the story responded to that saying, I will and thank you. I have invited OBS and her toddler over for Christmas as she could use someone to talk to. Also, having a toddler, I figured I could make her dinner to take what little stress I could off of her. She just kicked him, and they are divorcing. So, in other words, he invited her, come on over for Christmas dinner, bring the kid and all that. And by the way, they're divorcing. So, in other words, well, now that they become friends, and they're divorcing and all that, hey, you never know. Should this guy rush into a relationship? Absolutely not. In fact, honestly, he should take his time in multiple fronts. But I don't think if she's good looking and he gets along with her, I don't think it's too a bad thing if he can have a little fun with her and she can have fun with him. And hey, you never know. It may get back to his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife and the affair partner. That would be pretty funny. That would be some karma. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. And guys, you come across, if you've got a really good story like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. This goes for crazy stories you find online, good news articles, and of course, your own personal stories, things you've overcome, things you need help with. Email me, and I'll definitely do it. And as I've been saying all week, if you haven't seen so already, I started a brand new channel called SSM Clips. It's going really well. It's all going to consist of short videos from a minute long to about 5 or 6 minutes max, and a combination of clips from all my different videos I'm doing. funny, entertaining moments, a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, to me talking about some good life advice. Also, some exclusive, never-before-seen short videos that are usually 4 to 5 minutes long that were too short for SSM or They Did What, but because those are what I do here on the other channel are longer videos, because I know you guys like them. But the other ones are short and sweet, quick stories that are definitely entertaining when you're on the go. Check it out, SSM Clips. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.